Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Elden Ring episode here on the Elder Millennial Video Games channel. We're going to start out a new journey here, and we're going to do a rune level 1 run. So I'm going to choose the Wretch, and as per usual, I'm just going to give it a quick name. And I'm not going to do any other changes to the appearance, but I am going to choose the keepsake as a golden seed. I still think that's the best keepsake to start with, because it'll right off the bat give you an extra charge to your flasks. Okay, so let's get started. As per usual on this channel, I'm going to be skipping a lot of the cutscenes and a lot of the dialogue. Maybe not all of them, but there's really no rhyme or reason to it. For the most part, I'm gonna skip through most dialogue and cutscenes. And we're going to start out here at the Chapel of Anticipation, just a normal run. We're going to go down here, and we will get attacked by the Grafted Scion. You can just jump off the edge to make it a little faster or let it quickly kill you, but I like to always, put up a little bit of a fight. Okay, that did it. So here we are, moving on to the real part of the game. Right, we've got our flasks now. You can skip this part, but I like to, on a RL1 run, I like to do this tutorial cave. And the reason for that is I like to start the game with having some runes, and there's some enemies in here that will, when you kill them, you will get some runes. I feel like you end up with like just under 600 runes, which is great. It's a great start, because we're definitely going to buy some things from the very first merchant we see. But anyway, yeah, we killed those guys. For the most part, the enemies in here will either take like 2 light attacks to kill, or a jumping heavy will do it, or a heavy attack. Shield guy took a couple of jumping heavies, and then we were able to get the riposte and go in for a crit. See, like these guys, just jumping heavies, and they're done. This is that archer from before that was up higher than you, so now you're on his level, so a couple of jumping attacks and a riposte. Moving on, I forgot about this guy. Take him out. Then there's the guy that the tutorial really wants you to do a backstab on, so you know what, let's just do that. Why not do it again on this guy? Okay, the next enemy, we'll just do a jumping heavy, and that will stagger him, and we'll go in for the riposte. And that's pretty much what we're going to do for the boss here, Soldier of Godric. A jumping heavy, that's going to stagger him, we're going to get the riposte, and then we'll finish him off. It could be any type of attack, even a light attack will finish him at that point. Okay, there's the strength emote if you're into collecting the emotes. Okay, as we progress on, what I can tell you about this episode is it's mostly going to be probably about an hour to an hour and a half of gathering up things that we need for the journey. In the next episode, we will pick up the weapon that we're going to use. But this one's all about gathering things like flask charges, smithing stones, anything we're going to need, talismans we might want. But our first stop is going to be the church that's up ahead, the Church of LA, however you pronounce it. But we are going to run past here, so we don't want to aggro the tree sentinel. So we don't really want to fight him, but we do want to pick up this golden rune over here. Okay, we'll grab this site of grace. And over here in the corner, there's a smithing stone. One, I believe, we can pick up. And let's talk to the merchant Kale. First thing we're going to do is sell that golden rune we just picked up. And then we're going to purchase the crafting kit. And we'll have enough to buy 2 cracked pots. He sells 3 total, but we can get 2 of them right now. And then we're going to continue along, and we're going to head in the direction of Gatefront, because we want to grab that site of grace so we can get the cutscene with Melina. Because you have to do that. You have to have that cutscene with her. You have to eventually go to the Round Table Hold. Otherwise, you won't be able to get into Leyndell the proper way. Because like after that Draconic Tree Sentinel guarding Leyndell, there'll be like a barrier over it. You have to defeat 2 shard bearers. But even if you do that, if you haven't spoken with Melina yet and gone to the Round Table Hold, that barrier will not be removed. So even if you defeat 2 shard bearers, you still have to agree to help Melina. You still have to go to the Round Table Hold. Otherwise, you can't progress the game without some manner of like trickery or glitch or something like that. But I'm sure there are plenty of ways around it. But, you know, playing glitchless, you pretty much have to talk to Melina. So here's the grace. So we're going to activate it, and then we're going to sit down, and that should queue up the cutscene. And we're going to skip that. We're going to rush through the dialogue. Be sure to agree to helping her accept her terms. And then you will get the Spectral Steed Whistle, which allows you to call on Torrent. I like to put it in the first pouch slot, so it ends up being, on the Xbox controller, I hold down Y and hit up on the D-pad. And I like to put my cerulean flasks in the D-pad right position of the pouch. I don't like them being in the same location as the Crimson flasks, because it's too easy in the heat of battle to get confused and end up on the wrong one and use the wrong flask. So I like one of them being down there and one of them being in the pouch. We're going to grab that golden seed right there. And a couple of mushrooms. That's for later. we'll take the Stormhill Shack Site of Grace, and we are going to grab that Stone Sword key. Rodrika is also inside the shack if you want to talk to her. If you talk to her 3 times, she'll give you the Jellyfish Spirit Ashes. I'm not really interested in that for this run, so I kind of ignored her. What I am going to do is try not to aggro this troll, is I want to get up here and grab, at least right now, the Strength Knot crystals here. Actually, we'll probably use that for most of the run. Then I'm just going to warp back to Stormhill Shack. Okay, there are a few smithing stones we can grab. Over this way, there's also an area where we can pick up some runes. Yeah, right here. Just look out, because there are some like exploding things. Yeah, just don't get caught up in that. The great thing about an RL1 run is, like, early in the game, even early bosses, like Margit and Godric, probably aren't going to actually one-shot you. So you have some room to kind of learn and adjust your play style, you know, if you're not used to doing an RL1 run. Now, by the end of the game, like, late game bosses are definitely going to have moves that can potentially pretty easily one-shot you. But we grab those runes, we're going to run. I get a little confused about where I am for a second, but we're going to run over here to this troll guy. We're going to make sure we aggro him, because we want him to break open this statue right here. So we just need to wait for him to run on over. There it goes. We're going to try to avoid getting hit by him and pick up the runes that are now available that were inside the statue. So now, because I got him aggroed on me, I can't warp out, so I'm just trying to get somewhere safe. I really just want to bring up the map. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's warp over to the Church of Ella. And we'll see Ronnie is there waiting for us. We'll talk to her and get the Spirit Calling Bell. And the Lone Wolf Ashes. I don't think we're going to use the Lone Wolf Ashes. Please feel free to in your playthrough, but we may, for some of the late game bosses, want the option of summoning. I mean, very specifically for maybe for Malekith, Gideon, or Horlu. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, Gideon's one of the easiest bosses in the game. See, here's the thing, if you're new to Rune Level 1 runs. Gideon's one of the easiest bosses when you are at least moderately leveled up. I bet most of you kill him while he's monologuing the very first time you walk into the room. See, here's the thing, though. If he manages to kill you, he doesn't monologue every time. He's just ready to go the next time you walk in. And when one hit basically kills you, I'd say Gideon might be one of the hardest bosses in the game. I honestly expect to struggle the most against Gideon Ofnir in this entire run. I think it will take more attempts for me to beat him than any other boss that we go through. And this is not an all remembrances run either. Feel free to do that. I've done that before. It's great. But for this, I'm just going to kind of go with main storyline bosses. Anybody that I kind of have to beat. I think the one optional boss we are going to go after at some point is going to be Radahn. And that's simply because I want to pick up something in Nokron. I'm just going to give that Knight's Cavalry a moment. He was walking this way. I kind of wanted him to turn around because I didn't want him to aggro me while I'm trying to pick up the smithing stone. We do eventually want to head over to the Weeping Peninsula, but for now, let's go this way, because there is some stuff we want to grab near the Mistwood. So, first order of business is going to be grabbing that Mistwood outskirts side of Grace. It's right over here. We're going to head in, and I think first we're going to try to find the, head over to the Mistwood Ruins. You'll see me change directions a lot, because I can get easily turned around in the Mistwood. I don't often pay as close attention to the compass as I should. So I'm going to sneak over here. There's the bear. I'm going to grab some of the Trina's lilies. He will wake up, but fortunately he can't come down here. At least I've never seen that happen. Fortunately you can get on Torrent in here, so we're going to make a break out of here, try to avoid the bear. We're also going to try to grab those remaining Trina's lilies that are up there. And then we're gonna get out of dodge, because that's a very large bear back there. And at rune level 1, with no talismans equipped, yeah, we're in no leveled up weapon at all. Like, we're in no position to take on a rune bear. Right, we'll grab this Fort Height West side of Grace. It'll come in handy several times throughout the game, actually. It'll be there. We'll warp there when we decide we do want to go to Nokron after we beat Radahn. We don't actually need Bloody Slash for this, but we do need the half of the Dectus Medallion. I thought about not doing it right now, but I figured we were already here, so why not? We'll just run up the stairs, avoid the guys throwing fire. I think one hit me from behind, maybe? I wasn't looking, so I was too focused on the guy in front of me. There's a knight down there. If you kill him, you get Bloody Slash, the Ash of War. I don't really need it for this run. I don't tend to play with something like the Red Feathered Branch Sword. I know a lot of people do. That's where you get a power-up if you're at low health. But I just don't like the idea of using like Bloody Slash before every boss and whittling my health down. I'm not big on buffing in general, and that just are things that take a lot of time, so it's just not my style.
Welcome, dear customer. Yes, right this way.
Let's see. We're heading up to the minor Erd tree here. To grab a couple of tears for our flask. We don't even have the flask of wondrous physic yet, but we're right here, so let's grab those tears and head into the Siofra River Well. We're going down here because I want to get a talisman. It's one that I may not really even use. Maybe I will. I haven't decided yet. It's not one I use on every RL1 run, but it's a nice option to have. And that is Marika's, I think it's the Scar Seal. Maybe it's the Sword Seal. I can't remember which is which. But I pick it up to help boost, if I need to, boost Faith up a few points. Because you can use the Two Fingers Heirloom and Marika's, whichever seal it is we're going to pick up here shortly. If you equip both of those into talisman slots, you'd be able to use something like Rotten Breath. Which again, I don't think we're going to use on this run, but if you're doing an RL1 run, Rotten Breath can be a lifesaver, especially in the late game. I've used it before primarily to beat Malekith Phase 1, the Beast Clergyman. Because you can just stand behind a pillar and use Rotten Breath on him, and just wait for the damage to tick down until he enters Phase 2. But yeah, a good RL1 run is just all about having options. You're going to collect, in preparation for RL1, you're going to collect talismans that you may use once the entire playthrough and then swap back out. But it's just about having the options. My first RL1 run, I used several different weapons. Some were used once and then I completely never touched them again. Different talisman layouts, like it's amazing how much an RL1 run will cause you to kind of force you to switch it up a lot just in between bosses. But for this particular run, we're going to try and stick to pretty much the same weapon or weapons. At this point, I haven't really 100% decided which way I want to go. It's either going to be an Iron Ball run or a dual pickaxe run. But I'll figure that out by the next episode when we go to pick up our whatever weapon or weapons that we're going to use. Again, I got a little turned around, a little confused, as you could tell. But here's where we want to be, and I'm going to run along the edge here because I don't want to get close enough to activate that Dragonkin soldier over there. You can beat him at RL1. I've done it before, but it's not the easiest thing in the world.
might be interested in rescuing the great Kenneth Height, servant to the True Order and celebrated repudiator.
That's Kenneth Height. If you kill him, you get a golden seed. He is pretty fast though. At RL1 with just a basic club, I've seen people use like kick, and they're able to just kick him off the edge of what he's standing on, and that'll kill him. So that's one way to do it. But if you actually start like a real fight with him, you know, just be prepared. You may lose at RL1, especially this early on, without any really decent talismans equipped and an unleveled up weapon. Okay, I'm just checking to see how many mushrooms and Trina's lilies we have. So those are going to be used, and that cookbook we just picked up is going to be used for making sleep pots, which, yep, you guessed it, we're going to use those at probably one place in the game, and that's going to be the Godskin Duo. More power to you if you defeat them at RL1. Normally, I don't think I can, at least not without a very large number of attempts. So my plan is to go in when we get to the Godskin Duo and sleep them and make it a much easier fight. And hopefully get it, you know, one and done. Which we should be able to when we get there. Like, if you can manage to sleep them, then yeah, you should be able to do it. Without any retries. Alright, we're going to head behind the church to that way gate, and we're going to go to Caelid. You don't need to grab the Site of Grace inside the Bestial Sanctum. I like to grab it in case I do want to come back here at some point. Whatever weapons we get, we're only going to take to plus 24. We don't need to take them to plus 25, but this place is a great place to get an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. I wouldn't recommend doing the Death Root quest to get it. I would just go in there and kill Garank. He'll drop the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. And you can summon in there. I think the summon sign might go away if you kill the Black Blade Kindred that's in front of the place, so don't kill him. At least not before you've fought Garank, because that fight's a lot easier if you can summon. And feel free throughout this, if you do summon, feel free to level up your summons. That's great. My rule with RL1 runs is if I do summon, I can't level up. I can't use any Gloveworts on the summon. They have to be base level. Which means they die a lot faster, but at the same time, generally, if I need a summon, it's just to be a distraction. And even if they only last a few seconds, it's generally enough. And at base level in RL1, they're not going to do a tremendous amount of damage, because I don't want my summon to kill the boss for me. I just want them to maybe take aggro on more aggressive bosses. You know, buy me a little bit of time. Picked up some more golden runes there. You can go down. There's a grace at Lens Rise, but I'm not really going to head that way. Instead, we're going to head over here, run past this putrid avatar that's over to our left, hopefully not aggroing him. And we aggroed him, but it's okay, because there's a spirit spring right over here, and we're going to take that up to Fort Faroth, or Faroth. And you'll recognize this place because it's the place with the big old dragon Grail. But we're not here to kill Grail. We would be if we were doing a normal run and we wanted the runes to level up with. But instead, while we have some runes, let's go back to the Church of Ella, let's go to Kale, and let's buy that final cracked pot that he sells. The more cracked pots we have, the more sleeping pots we can take into that Godskin duo fight, which we want to get several of them because we want to have some margin for error. Okay, we're running into the fort here. Just run past all these guys. Hit the ladder, climb up. You may get poisoned here. I'd say probably 8 out of 10 times I get poisoned right here. I think this is one of the luckier runs. And in here, we're going to grab the other half of the Dectus Medallion. So hey, now we can go to the Altus Plateau. Alright. We have one more thing we want to grab, and that's the Radagon Soreseal Talisman. It is a mainstay of RL1 runs. I don't know anyone who's done an RL1 run that didn't have this equipped the entire run. Okay, grab that, and then the reason we spent as many runes as we could before we came in is I fully expected to die to the rats. Honestly, I'd recommend dying to the rats here than climbing out. It is possible. It is, despite what people will tell you, it is possible to climb out of here at RL1 at this point in the game. It just consumes more time. It's just faster to die to the rats. Since we're already over here, you can use Torrent to sort of jump up this mound of whatever. And there's some smithing stones. I think a stone sword key, yeah. Several nice to have items. They're higher level, I think maybe 7. I don't know if there was an 8 there or not, but definitely some smithing stone 7. Which are nice to have for later on. Because whichever direction we go, we're going to use a regular smithing stone weapon. So you'll see that I don't really go the normal route other people go and pick up the somber stones, because I'm not going to use a somber weapon for this run. I am picking up Sacred Tears. Here's the thing. You don't need the Sacred Tears. Your flask will pretty much restore your full health bar right off the bat. Or at least really close to it, I think. If you do need a Sacred Tear, you probably only need one. I'm going to grab all the ones I come across because I'm just planning for the future. It's like, what if I finish this run and decide I do want to level this character up for New Game Plus? Then it'll be nice that I already have those Sacred Tears, but there's really no benefit to getting them now. Or for this particular RL1 run. Just keep that in mind. Yeah, there's just a lot of setup to any run in Elden Ring, where you go around collecting everything you're going to need, and then eventually, typically an hour and a half, 2 hours in, you're actually ready to play the game. It's a matter of gathering up talismans you want, getting smithing stones you want, lighting up lighting up sites of graces that you're going to want to travel back to. And like I said, we are going to eventually fight Radahn, so it makes sense to go down here and light up the Impassable Great Bridge, Site of Grace. It'll give us easier access to the Radahn fight when we're ready for that.
Forgive me to determine if you had. It seems torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering. Very well. Let my hand.
If you wanted to, you could, I think the Radahn fight is ready. You can access it once you've set foot in Altus. At which point you can come back and do it. It should be relatively simple. At the very least, you can just get on Torrent and run around summoning all the guys on the battlefield and just keep your distance and don't get killed and keep reviving them. Because you can summon them over and over and over and over and over again. If they die, just keep summoning and they'll do all the heavy lifting of that fight, if you're having difficulty. What you want to do is try to sneak up. Oh, I can't believe I missed. I was trying to avoid the scarab going over the edge. For a couple of reasons. Number one, there are a bunch of other guys down here that are going to aggro me. And secondly, there are a bunch of other guys down here, so getting a target lock on the scarab can be less than ideal. But we killed him because we wanted the Cragblade Ash of War. I tend to use Cragblade anywhere where I want an increase to damage and stance damage. I use it in place of... I used to use and be a big fan of Royal Knight's Resolve. But the problem with Royal Knight's Resolve is... Number one, once you put it on a weapon, you've only got 8 seconds to use it before it wears off. And number two, once you use it, you've got to recast it. Like every time. Cragblade is a boost to damage. It's not as much as Royal Knight's Resolve, but it is an attack boost. And it lasts a lot longer than 8 seconds, and it doesn't go away when you hit an enemy the first time. So I just think I think the trade-off is worth it in damage, to the point where it's just a better version of Royal Knight's Resolve. We are going to head to the Weeping Peninsula. Over there on the right, somewhere over there on the right, where I was looking a second ago, there's a scarab there, and that has the Unsheathed Ash of War. So if you're doing an RL1 run with the Uchigatana, and you want to apply an affinity to it, like Cold, but you want to keep Unsheathed, you'll need to go pick up that Ash of War from that scarab. Because you can't put an affinity on its innate Unsheath ability. You have to apply the Unsheath Ash of War to put the affinity. And I think when people started doing RL1 runs, besides the Serpent Hunter, which is just way too much of a pain in the ass to go get, there used to be a lot of good glitches and cheese for it, but now it's just to me not worth it. For that Godskin Noble fight, this makes it not worth being the weapon you start out with in an RL1 run. But besides that, I think most people I've seen use the Uchi all the way through the game. I suck with the Uchigatana. I can get majority of the way through the game with it. I would say most of the way through the game with it, but I can't complete the game with the Uchi doing a rune level 1 run. And I think part of it is, I don't know, I have issues with the Unsheath. Like, I think it's great, this fantastic stance damage. It's just the fact that it takes, like, the left button and then you hit the right button. I guess I'm not coordinated enough for that, because half the time I'll swear I hit that left trigger and I'll just do a normal heavy attack when I hit the right, and it always happens at like the worst time. I'm just not good with the Uchikatana. Gonna get some kukri here, because we're gonna use some kukri in just a moment. Yeah, I think I'm like the opposite of most people, because in Elden Ring, like, I'm not a big fan of katanas. Like, it's not my favorite weapon. Like, I hate the katanas. I would rather have a, short curved sword. We bought the kukri because we can throw one kukri and take out that scarab and give us poison mist. There are 4 enemies total where I think poison mist would be handy if we need it. One where we're definitely going to use it, and 3 more where there's potential to use it. The 3, I think, where there's the potential to use it if you're having trouble are the Draconic Tree Sentinel outside Langdell, Commander O'Neill and Kaled, and the Draconic Tree Sentinel outside of Malekith's arena. Now, you can't sneak up on him. You just have to run past him and then quit out the game and start up again to end up behind him to poison him. But it's still a tactic if you're having trouble against that particular boss. Guess he's more of a mini boss, but yeah. We'll take the Spirit Spring up. And I think all we're going to do right now is just grab some Sacred Tears. There's 2 churches in this area here. This part of the Weeping Peninsula. The first is the Church of the Pilgrimage. You'll recognize this because this is where you come to farm the Bandit's Curved Sword. This time I'm actually going to grab it. Okay, there's the Sacred Tear. Again, you don't need the Sacred Tears, but I'm just getting them in case I want to have them on a future playthrough with this character. While we're at it, there's also a couple of good places to grab some more Trina's Lilies as we go on our way to the next church. The first and best spot in the Weeping Peninsula for Trina's Lilies is right over here. Just be careful of that rat. He will follow you over here eventually. And nobody wants to die to a rat. You can also fight him. He's not like the rats at Fort Faroth. You can actually kill this one pretty easily. The ones at Fort Faroth are just tanky as hell. If you are doing an RL1 run and you are at Fort Feroth, yeah, like seriously, at this stage with an unleveled up club, RL1, yeah, just like go into Fort Feroth, go to that big rat, and like give it your best attack. And when you see how little damage it does to it, you'll understand why everybody just says, just let it kill you. I looked in there because I was kind of hoping that Rodrika would have already. I guess. I was hoping she would already be gone from there, because she leaves a golden seed behind. But that's okay. Whatever. We'll grab it. We're not gonna get all the golden seeds. We're not gonna get all the sacred tears. I'm not. I know where they all are, but I'm not really going out of my way to get all of them. Generally, if you end up with anywhere from 8 to 10 flasks by the end of your RL1 run, you're good. You're good. And if you find that that's not enough flasks for you and you're having to heal more often, because again, not every attack every enemy does is going to kill you, and there are ways to avoid that. So if you find you are using a lot of heals, I'm not going to be that guy that just says get good and gives no information, but consider just fighting a boss over and over and over again. Like I think most of us doing RL1 runs, we fought each of these bosses like probably hundreds of times. You'll really start to soak in their patterns. You'll learn what you're doing wrong. You'll learn what you're doing right. It's really practice makes perfect. I can't think of a better way to say it. And I'm not even that great, and you're going to see me die over and over again to several bosses throughout this run. But I think the most important thing is to just have a good time. And I think Elden Ring challenge runs and Rune Level 1 runs are a good time. I really enjoy them. We're going to make our way here down to the Liurnia Lake Shores, or Lake Shore. Don't know why I felt there needed to be a S at the end of that. Grab the old Site of Grace right here. Then I'm going to go talk to this merchant, because he has one item I definitely want to buy. I buy it on every run. And I need to sell some golden runes first to be able to afford it, because it's oddly expensive. That's the lantern, which I put in the down position in the pouch. The D-pad down position. That's just my personal preference. Alright, now that we've got a little nightlight going on, I just prefer the lantern because you can turn it on and it stays on and you're not using up one of your hands like you would with a torch. The only thing I don't like about the lantern is when you warp in and out of places or rest at sites of graces, sometimes it'll stay on, sometimes it turns off automatically. I wish it would just stay on until you turn it off. I want FromSoft to, patch that in. Make the lantern stay on. going to run over here and try to avoid all these enemies. We're going to need to either hit that or roll on it to open it up, and you get a little path down here. Inside, the item to the left is a Shabriri grape. We're not doing that quest line, so we don't need it, but we do want the Two Fingers heirloom. If we equip the Two Fingers heirloom to our talisman slot, we'll get enough in faith to be able to cast the Poison Mist. Actually, I think it gives 5 points to faith, so it's more than enough to cast the Poison Mist. You might be thinking, why not just use the Marika's Scar Seal or whatever it is? Because like the Radagon's Source Seal, it comes with a penalty. Even though we're wearing the Radagon Source Seal throughout this entire run, it does give us a 15% increase to damage taken. But it's worth it at low levels, and since we're not going to be leveling up our character, we're always going to be at a low level. Around the time you hit level 40-ish, maybe a few levels before, maybe a few levels after, it starts to be more of a problem having that 15% damage increase. But for a large portion of this run, like I said, enemies are going to be able to one-shot us, so damage negation doesn't really matter as much. For the sake of convenience here, I am going to grab the Temple Quarter Site of Grace. That'll give us easy access to a few more Trina's Lilies and a pretty good straight path to like the Rose Church if we were to go there. For now, however, we're going to get the key that we need to enter Rea Lucaria. If you go up this way, you won't actually aggro the dragon. So go up that way, go out the way you came in, and you don't have to worry about him waking up. And up here, there's a Site of Grace. It's like the Crystalline Woods Site of Grace or something like that. I forget the exact name. Now we're going to run along here. And speaking of Trina's Lilies, there are going to be some in one of these little alcoves, one of these little, under this trestle. Should be coming up right here. Yep, there should be 3 of them. So make sure you get all 3 of these. You can never have too many Trina's Lilies when you're planning on using sleep pods. Sure, you need the mushrooms, but mushrooms respawn. Mushrooms are literally everywhere in this game. Like, you can very easily get hundreds and hundreds of mushrooms. Trina's Lilies don't respawn. They're only in specific areas. And it's a very late game area when you actually reach somewhere where enemies can drop them, and very specific enemies in a very specific location can drop them. So they are farmable, but that's very late game. That's in the Consecrated Snowfield. So until you're able to get there, you have a limited quantity. And I try to pick up, if I see a group of 3 or whatever, 2 or 3, I grab them. There is a place where there are maybe like 9 or 10 of them near the village of the Alpenarchs. But I never touch that. I always save that. That's always my... I've really screwed up and wasted all my Trina's lilies. Like, that's... then I go there. It's like my reserve for those lilies. Careful right here, it's easy to miss those steps and to fall to your death. But yeah, we're just going to run through here. The smart thing would have been to put like the strength tier in your physic, but I don't think I've done that yet, so I don't have access to my physic. But this should still be doable. What I like to do here is send the elevator back up, just in case we die and have to run through again. Because if you don't send the elevator back up, you have to pull the lever and wait for it, and you're definitely going to get attacked by like 2 of those minor guys, and that's really no fun. So it's much better to have the elevator ready for you. Some marionette soldiers here. I do a little zigging and zagging here, just hoping the RNG's in my favor and their arrows all miss me. Let our stamina fill back up and make a run for it. This one, I expect that guy back there is definitely gonna hop on this platform with us. Yeah, there he is. I'm just gonna do jumping heavy attacks. So we stun him, get that stagger. I missed the riposte, so I'm just panicking and spamming light attacks, and that seemed to work. I feel like I always miss the riposte on that guy. Okay, here's the Crystallian. We're going in for jumping heavies. Well, I forgot to jump on that and just did charged heavy, but focus on heavy attacks. Get the riposte, then do a charged heavy, followed immediately by another charged heavy, and then a riposte, and rinse and repeat. Just after you get the riposte, 2 charged heavies. That gave us the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 1. So that's going to let us buy infinite Smithing Stone 1 and 2s. Okay, back at Temple Quarter, we're going to warp to the Grace and we're going to turn around and run kind of in line with that steeple. There are some Trina's lilies right there, 3 of them. Be sure to grab those. And we're going to keep on running this way. We're actually going to go past the Rose Church, which you can see kind of there coming up in the distance. There's a scarab over there. That one has the Blood Flame Blade. We're going to keep heading in this general direction. hopefully we find what I'm looking for, which is this little plot of land. It has some albinarix on it, but what we're here for is the dexterity knot crystal tier. And I think we grabbed a Trina's lily too, so that was just a little bonus. Okay, I didn't really need that, but I saw something shining and I was like, ooh, what is that? The Dex Knot crystals here will be handy for, I think, one specific moment. Which isn't even really necessary if you want to go the pickaxe route, which I haven't decided. We may very well end up going the pickaxe route. But the Dex Knot crystal tier is going to be great if we want to get the iron ball. Okay, we're gonna take the Bellum Highway. Or I guess sort of next to the Bellum Highway. We're not really on the highway. And our first order of business is going to be grabbing the Grace at Bellum Church. And I'll also pick up the Sacred Tier that's here as well. Yeah, I hate that. Like, if you're too close to the site of Grace, like, Torrent won't come, and it's just annoying. And I run out here, and then I run back because I'm pretty sure if you just run out in the open like that, you'll trigger some ballistas to start shooting at you. But if you stay near the cliff's edge and run up along here, you won't actually aggro the ballistas. I picked up a rune arc. I'll probably pick up several, but we're not actually going to use any great runes. I don't like relying on great runes for rune level 1 runs because when you're playing offline, they're very limited supply, so you don't want to come to rely on a great rune. Because as soon as you hit a boss and die like 100 times, you're not going to have any rune arcs left. So you'll end up having to play without the great rune anyway, so I always run in the middle. Because I swear, like, when this game came out, that golem back there, at least one of them, would shoot an arrow at you. But it wouldn't if you, like, stayed in between these statues, just ran in the middle. I don't know if it actually will shoot at you anymore, but I'm fairly certain it used to. So I'm just in the habit of running kind of a straight line down the middle. Maybe I'm making that up. I swear, though, that used to be the case. But something tells me it's not anymore, and I look like an idiot just running in the middle like that, but no, whatever, it's fine. There are a lot of places we need to go in Altus, but we're going to start by running up here. Just try to keep dashing and avoid. Mostly the arrows. Like they're the big threat here. You can run right past the tree sentinels. They drop, I think, a shield and I don't remember. Nothing too valuable. To the point where it's not worth fighting them. They actually can't come down here either, so you'll notice I'm not really worried. They chase you like halfway and then they turn around. So once you get down to those golden seeds, you're safe. And we're gonna run past this gargoyle. I don't have any reason to fight him. Two more golden seeds. We're going to run past the Margit fight here. Also, I just don't think the talisman he drops is worth it. But we mostly just wanted to come up here to grab that grace so we can warp there later. Let's go back to the Outer Wall Phantom Tree. We're going to run up this path because there is something we want up ahead. I think it's the Golden Order Seal. It's just very near the path we were on anyway. So it'll be great for if we need to do Poison Mist or any other incantations. It's a 0-weight shield, or seal. And it's great for casting. I know you'll see a lot of people in RL1 runs go for the Dragon Communion Seal. But I don't think we really need it. And honestly, this one's right there to be picked up. I think the Dragon Communion Seal can be a little more difficult to get. So yeah, Golden Order Seal, it's right there. We grabbed it. That's our seal. You don't have to fight this Guardian. I just kind of wanted to see RL1 unleveled up weapon. What kind of damage I would do to him? Not much. And I should probably get out of here. Okay, he's got a friend. I should definitely get out of here. Yeah, that was a I don't know what I was thinking moment. Well, actually, I kind of do. I kind of thought they would be a little bit easier. I don't know why I thought they would be easier. I thought, hey, I'm going to kill that Guardian real quick. And then that turned into be a very much a nope situation. There's a map if you want to get it. I'm not too interested in grabbing the maps anymore. Your first couple of playthroughs, yeah, grab the maps. They'll really help you out. But now I pretty much know everywhere I want to go by memory, so don't really need the maps. Oh, hey, look, a mushroom. I haven't been picking up mushrooms like crazy like I normally do in a run like this, so it's might be the first run I've ever done where I'm going to end up probably having more lilies than mushrooms. Okay, we're in the sealed cave. We came here. There's several goodies we can get here. Several of which just require a good bit of farming. So the farming route I like to do here is to do jumping heavy attacks until you can get the critical in. Take him out, run down here. Jumping heavies on this guy until he stance breaks. Then get the riposte. same for this guy. Man, no drops. But there is a Smithing Stone 5 over here on the wall that you can grab. These guys will sometimes drop Smithing Stone 5s. They will also drop the pickaxe. It just might take a while of farming them to get them to actually drop anything, apparently. Yeah, the RNG gods are not in my favor. None of these guys are dropping anything. Oh hey, that one dropped something. Sometimes they drop useless stuff. Take out the Vulgar Militia guy. You can get the critical attack on him, and then another attack should kill him. Another attack or two. What we grabbed out of the chest was the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 2. That's going to let us be able to buy infinite Smithing Stone 3s and 4s. So at the very minimum, we should be able to buy enough stones at the Round Table Hold to get us up to a plus 12 Smithing Stone weapon. I kind of want to just go and see if I can get a second Smithing Stone 5. Because we have one. I mean, it'd be great if we could get another one, because then we can at least level up the first level of the Smithing Stone 5s. Come on, one of you guys. You gonna be the one? You gonna be the nice one that drops the stone? I'm just doing charged heavies here. Just 2 of them back to back. That'll stance break them. If you get tired of doing the jumping heavies, the 3 jumping heavies, 2 charged heavies will also do the trick. It's like whatever your preference is. Maybe one more run. While I'm doing this, I'll explain. The chest where we got the Miner's Bell Bearing 2, the wall behind that chest down there is an illusory wall, so if you hit it, it will disappear. There is, I think, a couple of Smithing Stone 6s you can get back there. It also leads to the boss of this cave, which is one of the lords. Is it like an alabaster lord? Maybe it's one of those. I forget exactly. If you kill the boss of any cave, mine, whatever, dungeon, you can freely warp into and out of it. But as long as you haven't killed the boss, you can't warp to a site of grace from the inside. So that's why you see me doing these runs and then running all the way back to the site of grace. It's because I can't actually warp to it yet, because I haven't killed the boss of the area. But yeah, if you ran through here and got enough Smithing Stone 5s, and then got the 6s that are down there, you could get up to, I think, a plus 16 weapon right at the beginning of the game. But I don't think it's going to be necessary to go that high of a level initially, so I'm not going to go down there and get those 6s. Just having like 2 Smithing Stone 5s, I think, is good. Back to the Altus Highway Junction. We're going to grab another golden seed that's just sitting there waiting for us. We're going to run up here past the map. Over to the left is where you would hop down to go fight Eleonora, which we're not going to do. But that's where you would get the Eleanor's pole blade weapon. You would get the Purifying Crystal Tear. I don't think we're going to go fight Moog this run, so we don't really need the Purifying Crystal Tear. In case you're curious, you mix that in with your Physic and drink it when he's doing Nihil. And it will nullify the effects of that. It won't damage you like he normally does during Nihil. Okay, we just wanted to grab this Site of Grace for later. Because it makes an easy path to places like the Windmill Village if we want to go there. There's a Battle Mage we can kill, which if we do go the pickaxe route, we'll definitely be coming back to kill him because we need part of his armor set that he drops. Okay, we want to, instead of turning right there and going back up where we just were, we're going to keep running this way because we want to go to the Erdtree Gazing Hill Site of Grace. And the reason we want to do that is because that'll give us access later, easy access to, is it the Lux Ruins that's up there? The place where we can go fight Gillica and get the, what's it called? Ritual Sword Talisman. Because I do like the Ritual Sword and Ritual Shield Talismans. I know there's a bigger increase with the Red Feathered Branch Sword than the Ritual Sword Talisman, but again, it comes down to for me it's easier to be at full health than it is to strategically be at 20% health. So like if I die and respawn at a Site of Grace, I'm already at full health. No action required. Hey, you know what's right outside of the Sage's Cave? More Trina's Lilies. We'll grab those, we'll go in, we'll get the Site of Grace here at the Sage's Cave. I don't want to go into it right now because there are some items in here I do want to grab, but I don't want to die right now. Not with runes. And I'm definitely going to die in here. So we'll save that for later. We'll go back to the Round Table Hold, and let's take stock of what we've got here. We picked up a couple of weapons. The Morning Star will be great for when if we want to kill Grail. But other than that, we've got our club that we started with, and we've got the Golden Order seal. And the reason the Morningstar will be great for killing Grail is it has innate bleed, and our club does not have that. And so that just makes killing Grail a lot faster. Yep, we got our Radicon Sword Seal on. We're going to keep that on. We got the Two Fingers Heirloom, the Axe Talisman for boosting charged attacks. The Axe Talisman will be good if you go the Iron Ball route. You pretty much always want to have the Axe Talisman on. But yeah, Radicon Sword Seal, that stays on for the rest of the run. You could also go get the Blue Dancer's Charm, and maybe I'll get that in another video on this run. But Blue Dancer's Charm isn't one that I really plan on using. It's good if you manage to stay at like light load, always doing a light roll. Then Blue Dancer's Charm can be a good additional talisman to have to increase your damage. And like I said, the Axe Talisman, if you've got a weapon where you're primarily doing charged heavy attacks, yeah, you probably want to have that one equipped. And that just reminded me, we want to mix the Wondrous Physic. For now, we'll put in Strength Knot and the Spiked Crack Tier, I think. These are going to change depending on the route we take with whatever weapon we select. But this is a good combo for the Iron Ball, actually. Because you're going to want to do mostly charged heavies with that. Or if you keep even the club, like that's a very good combo for the rest of the game. Okay, we're going to use our Golden Seeds and our Sacred Tears. And so far, we're off to a pretty great start. Yeah, and in the next video, we'll go find our weapon that we're going to end up using for the remainder of the run. Thanks for watching.